What's up guys, my name is Elle and welcome to or back to the coffee shop project at home. Today we are roasting again and I could not be more pumped about it because last time we roasted, we did a pan, a skillet, and then the popcorn popper here, and it was really fun. But you know, I almost lit my house on fire with the pan, had some mishaps. The popcorn popper was by far the most consistent and safest way to do it. So we're bringing everything back to that. And this time, instead of doing a single origin roast, we're gonna be doing blends. So we have a Sumatra, Colombia, and Mexico roast, with the Colombia being the common factor in the experiment, and then the Sumatra and the Mexico roast being the blend. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take each of these half cups of green coffee, roast them separately in the popcorn popper, and then we're gonna grind them together to taste the different blends and see if any of them taste better, worse. I don't know yet. Let's jump into it. We have 3 roasts we're gonna be making today. I'm gonna make 2 off camera and I'm gonna do 1 here with you guys. We're gonna do the Mexico macabre roast together, and I'm gonna be basing this roast off of Lani Kingston's principles in her book, How to Make Coffee. If you don't have that yet, I'm gonna link it down below along with the right popcorn popper to buy. So when I started roasting, I bought one with a mesh bottom like a Sev. It should look like this, just nice and open, because if you have the Sev, you have a chance of the chaff, which is like the shell of the coffee bean, getting stuck in there and exploding and burning your house down, and you don't want that. So Lani says that you should take as much green coffee as you would popcorn and then put it in the bottom. For me, that would be 1/4 of a cup, and I have half a cup total I'm gonna do. So we're gonna do this in 2 waves, starting with the first 1/4. We're gonna put that in there, and then I'm going just to start shaking it. We want it to start spinning, kind of like you're frothing milk. So we're gonna shake it up. We're gonna start the popcorn popper and just shake. We're gonna pop our lid back on and kind of shake it until it starts spinning and the chaff starts flying. So I want like a light medium roast I'm going for today. I did like a dark roast last time. That took 10 minutes. My palate is a little bit more developed now, nothing professional, but I would definitely prefer and enjoy a lighter roast. So if you look, it's spinning. And now we're just gonna wait until we hear that first pop thoroughly through. And while we wait, I'm gonna grab my Sev. So I'm about 1 minute in right now. The beans are all spinning nicely, and I haven't heard any pops yet, but they're getting a little darker. We need to wait until we hear the pop all the way through and see that lightish roast color all the way through, because once we pour it out, they're still gonna darken more in the Sev as they cool. And we have a nice big Sev here because we want the airflow to go all through the beans because we need them cooled in the first 4 minutes. Getting a little darker. They're at like a caramely color right now. About 2 minutes in. Looking nice. And we're gonna touch base when we hear that first pop. Also, disclaimer, I've made this mistake before, but when you hear a pop initially, that does not mean that the first pop is done. That means it's starting. Don't pull them out or your roast is gonna be inconsistent and not cool fast enough. So you can see now the chaff is coming off. That means we are getting close to that first pop, which would make sense about where we are in the timeline. I'm starting to see some color here. Oh, there we go. So again, I'm not gonna pull it out yet because I need to hear that all the way through. If I don't hear a pop in like the next 10 seconds, I think I'm gonna pull them out. And this is the part that makes me the most nervous. You're supposed to pull them out. Well, the thing is to still spinning, which I didn't do last time. I'm scared they're gonna like go everywhere. Luckily we have extra coffee, so it wouldn't be the end of the world, but I don't wanna start over. We're coming up on 5 minutes and still hearing that first pop, so my temperature of my popcorn roaster, watts, whatever, might have been different than Lani's, but her recipe is holding pretty true. Now is the scary part. This is pretty hot plastic. You gotta pull that off. And we're supposed to, oh, it's hot. I don't have an oven mitt, guys. I need to turn it off. I was gonna try to do it while it was still moving. I couldn't, so I just pulled them. That's actually pretty even, look at that. Okay, so now we're getting them to cool. We're just shaking, 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 and again, we have it in this nice big Sev so we can get some good airflow. While I'm cooling this down, I'm actually gonna start our next 1/4 of a cup. So I'm gonna pour that in there, and then I'm gonna shake with one hand, swirl with the other, and we are gonna make some coffee. So I'm pretty happy with how roast number 1 turned out. It actually looks like coffee that you might buy at a store. Let's get that in there. It took about 5.5 minutes to get to this medium-ish flavor profile, and then about 4 minutes to cool. That's how it looks close up. Wish me best of luck with 2 and 3. Oh, we did it! Okay, let's cool these off one last time. Okay, Okay guys, so we are done roasting all 3 varieties of the beans, and I would definitely say that I've improved tenfold since my last roasting attempt a few months ago, although this one here, this is our control, the Columbia bean. It's definitely the worst, which is kind of sad. I was trying to finish up and I did the whole half cup versus a quarter of a cup, and it did not end as well, so we live and we learn. But otherwise, I think these 2 are beautiful. So we got the Mexico and the Sumatra roast. The Mexico roast looks by far the best and most like coffee to me, and then this one, the Sumatra one, it looks pretty good. But I'm going to leave these be for the night. I'm gonna put them in some bottles, let them sit for 12 hours, and then come back in the morning to test them. It's been 12 hours now, and it is time to taste these coffees. So they set in these jars overnight, and I've just measured out 20 grams of each blend and the original to save some time. So we have Mexico Columbia, plain Columbia, and Sumatra Columbia. Let's get them ground. So we are going to head over here to my espresso. We want a medium to coarse grind. So for me, my coarseness can go up to 16. I'm gonna go to about a 13, I think, today. Turn this on. And we are gonna grind the Mexico Columbia first. So throughout this journey over the past couple of months, I have come to learn that my favorite part of the entire coffee ritual is the grinding aspect, because for me, that's when like the smell notes hit and you get like a little hint of the coffee before you taste it, and it is especially rewarding because I've roasted these myself, and when I was first thinking about roasting, I was like, this is not gonna taste like coffee until the 20th time. And well, this doesn't taste like craft coffee, but it's so cool that it actually tastes like coffee. That's completely oversimplifying it, but if you try this, you'll get what I'm saying. Anyway, now it is time to grab our Melittov pour over set. So I grabbed this at Pottery Barn the other day, and I have been loving it. If you have a coffee lover in your life, perfect Christmas gift. You can also get it on Melittav's website. 10 out of 10 recommend. We're gonna use this by taking a filter, and it's a flat filter, and I've learned that the best way to use it is to fold it like this and this to get a better fit for the pour over. And then we need to heat up some water, wet the filter. I'll show you, one sec. We are going to rinse our filter, and we're doing this one over the sink because the Melittov has a hole right in the bottom and it goes straight through. And we just kind of got to get it all a little bit damp, and then we need to bring it back over to this little brewing station that I've set up. So the mugs that I picked do not fit with this, but we are going to improvise with this nice little pot. So we have to like kind of precariously get it on there. And then we're going to brew our constant first, which is just the plain Columbia roast. It smells wonderful. And now we're going to put this on a scale and add in 300 milliliters of water. Always tare it first. With like a little Jenga tower going. This could go wrong at any moment. There's ounces, milliliters, perfect. And we are just gonna do it in a circular motion. I'm gonna hold mine into place because I have a record of spilling when I pour. And there we have a nice 300. So that's just gonna take a second to kind of seep through all the way. Okay, so all of our water has drained out of our filter. It looks kind of disgusting now. We're gonna set that off to the side, and we're just gonna smell it. It still smells kind of like grass, but I'm sure it will taste like coffee. And there's our first cup. I'm going to do the other 3, do some B-roll, and we'll touch base when we're ready. It's time for our hard work to finally pay off with our cupping. So we have everything nicely presented, we have our beans, and we're gonna start by tasting our Columbia roast. I chose to use the Columbia roast as the constant because that is what I roasted the first time that I made the coffee and I loved it. And the flavor notes are orange blossom, molasses, and brown sugar, which we'll get into why they tie into the other two in a second, but let's start by tasting it. That orange blossom and molasses is potent. I thought it was gonna be a lot lighter just because of like how light the roast and the coffee is. It's not even really medium, but I think it's gonna blend really well with the other two. So let's cleanse our palates and get into it. We're gonna taste the Mexico Columbia blend next. And I chose to blend the Mexico and Columbia beans because there's brown sugar, cinnamon graham cracker, and then milk, chocolate, and orange. I looked up if milk, chocolate, and orange go together, and they actually do. It's a fun little Christmas blend, so I thought they would be fun together, and I'm pumped to try it. It worked, it blended. So whatever is in with the milk, chocolate, and cinnamon graham cracker with the Mexico roast toned down the acidity of the orange so much, but the flavor is still there just enough. It's delicious. I'm really impressed with myself for that one. Now that we had such a strong beginning, the stakes are high for our final roast, and that's the Sumatra Columbia roast. And the Sumatra had brown sugar as well. So there's 2 brown sugars, and then the spices are cinnamon and clove, and then there is a little bit of caramel in there. The caramel was the wild card, but I have high hopes that the sweetness will come through. This one's also our darkest. If you look at these beans, they're a little bit darker than the other ones, which led to a little bit darker coffee, and we are going to see how that all panned out. That's not good at all. Oh my gosh, that one's not for me. It's really acidic to the point that it's like vinegar. I wonder if it's the clove, because I don't taste a lot of things with clove just in like my day-to-day life. I might not be used for it. It was so bad I'm not even gonna take a second sip to really get into it. So we are going to call the Mexico Columbia roast the winner. I'm excited to like wait a couple more days and a couple different brewing methods. Overall, really yummy, really smooth, and like the perfect balance of sweet and savory. I want to make another batch of this one, a bigger batch, and let me know if you decide to try any of these blends. Everything I used is gonna be linked down below. If you enjoyed this video, I would love if you'd consider subscribing while you're there, and I will see you in my next video Wednesday. Bye guys.